We come to this place for magic. We come to the Bladtcast to laugh, to cry, occasionally be revolted, to pretend that you care. Because we need that, all of us. That indescribable feeling we get when the sound begins to prematurely dim, preserving that sacred runtime that is always measured in full minutes. And we go somewhere we've never been before. Not just entertained, but somehow reborn. Together. From guests who feel obligated to come on because Christian used to work for that famous guy, to hearing all about that one time Captain EO went home with a stripper. Dazzling conversation on tiny earbuds that repeatedly fall out, or a huge pair of Beats by Dre that never fit, but you spent $200 on them, so you wear them anyway. Sound we all can feel. Somehow, heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Our hosts feel like the best part of us, and stories feel perfect and powerful. Anyone who thinks being on the show will help them get on to bigger shows, it won't. The Bladtcast. We make podcasts better.
Welcome to Bladtcast episode 606. Today, Christian is joined by original Bladtcaster Will Starling and Liev. So please dim your lights, silence your phones, return tray tables to their upright and locked positions, and get ready for what is quite possibly the longest hour or shortest 2 hours and 56 minutes of your life. And now, you know him, you kind of sort of like him, or at least tolerate him because you like everyone else. Here's Christian Bladt.
Oh my goodness, it's me. Welcome to the Bladtcast. Very excited to not just be here with each and every one of you, but when I call their name, it's like a little prayer. Down on my knees. They want to take me there. That's right. It is Agent Starling and Liev. Welcome to the show, boys. I could not have asked for a bigger show.
Quite the
have
introduction.
The two of you on.
Between the two, the AMC Bladtcast thing, and then what sounds like Farad Muhammad.
It is indeed Farad Muhammad.
But it sounds like AI in a way where you were able to program it to say like 606 episode.
Nope.
Yeah. So
I got him to say all that, but I like to cobble it together to make it sound like a ransom video. Okay. Because Farad Muhammad is being held hostage somewhere on these premises, but I neither want to confirm nor deny. And I actually played the wrong one. I meant to play the intro, the AMC intro, where it talked about being rescued by the Canadian CIA. So instead, we got to remember that time that Jeff went home with a stripper. And look where it got him. Anyway, Liev, you're looking better than ever. You're literally looking better than ever.
Hi, thanks. What do you want? You already got me here.
Yeah, there's your wife in the background too. It keeps focusing on her because it thinks she.
I'm glad she's dressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's we could go for the views. It's unfortunate that she was prepared to be on camera, but that's all right. And listen to this already in the chat. The lovely Lynn B. I will listen intently. I took the grandsons to Deadpool and Wolverine. I have not seen any of the reference movies. Didn't get inside jokes, but laughed a lot. Hey, Will, I think that Lynn B's grandchildren must be older than I thought they were. Because as we talk about the movie in a moment, not for kids, but Will Starling, of course, is here. Liev, who we only call Liev, is here. Go ahead, Will.
I've always had this opinion since the first Deadpool, which is that I believe that these movies are great R-rated movies for children before they should see R-rated movies. I think that that's an important part of growing up. The kids should see an R-rated movie, either probably not with their parents, at a friend's house where they're not supposed to be watching something, and they're like 11, 10, 11, 12, and they like me and Terminator 2. Or Starship Troopers, which was not a movie that I would recommend showing people before they should watch it. But I saw it when I was 9 and changed my life. I mean, it is with the way the reason I am the way I am now. But if Lynn took her underage, 20 and 18, never mind. Okay.
Yep. I was just going to put that up there. They're 20 and 18. Look, I'm a proponent of R-rated movies to a point for kids. I saw RoboCop in the theater. I was 11. It was great.
Yeah, exactly.
This is not RoboCop. That opening sequence in this movie made me realize that even though it was released on Felix's 9th birthday, I was like, yeah, it's a good thing I didn't take him. But I do want to defer to our resident member who has childlike wonder inside. Liev, what did this movie mean to the little boy, that 9-year-old that lives inside your heart, getting to see Deadpool and doing all this badass stuff? I know that these are kind of the only superhero movies you get really excited about, right?
No, I get excited for all of them. This one in particular, though, because I have that dude crush on Ryan Reynolds. But I totally agree that this is a rated R film for kids, as long as parents, because parents know how mature their kids are. Most kids will be able to handle this. I mean, I totally think my rated R movies, by the way, were Striptease and Showgirls.
Wow.
And that Richard Gere one where he pretended to be straight.
Wait, either way, I thought that was every Richard Gere movie.
Pretty much. I think Fatal Attraction. All good rated R movies, though. Solid for 10-year-old me. Red Shoe Diaries on Showtime or HBO, I can't remember, but those were great introductions for me into the adult world. Just right after I hit puberty, because I hit puberty around 9 years old. I was fully developed by 10. But yeah, Deadpool, Wolverine, great movie, great film for all ages, I think.
And, I think that, first of all, did you go with your lovely wife, or did she want to sit it out?
No, I went alone. This was I would have been cheating on her. I can't do things that I did in front of her. It was bad enough I was doing it in front of strangers.
Right. Now, is your man crush on Ryan Reynolds so much that even when he's in the burned face makeup, you're like, yeah, I still would?
It's so bad that Blake Lively was naked next to me and just Ryan Reynolds was on the screen. I would say, no, Blake, I want to enjoy Ryan on the screen and not you in person. That's how big that crush is.
Yeah. Well, look, I think it's important that we have it. And it's something that I think is important to talk about a little bit, because of the simple fact that Deadpool is, I think, a Marvel character who is notoriously comfortable with his own sexuality. And one of my favorite things from the comic book version is how he will always flirt with Spider-Man, and it makes Spider-Man incredibly uncomfortable. I think Peter is just dealing with, he's not ready to deal with some things. And I mean this in a way that it was kind of refreshing. So this film, and tell me what you think, Will, I think that this film had a lot of gay jokes, but not in the way that, some of the 80s comedic romps of our youth might have had gay jokes. It's sort of like very comfortable with like, oh yeah, I've been pegged before and stuff like that. And you're like, yeah.
I would have liked them to go further. I mean, I think the character of Deadpool is this sort of like on paper, this like pansexual character. There's always jokes about the fact that he's trying to fuck Spider-Man.
Which, by the way, who amongst us isn't? Am I right or am I right?
True. And so there, I mean, I think all the jokes were pretty safe. It's like nothing is. When it's also about the self, it's not disparaging about other people. Like he's talking about pegging like for himself. He's not saying things about other people. So, I mean, I kind of wish that there was a little bit more gayness between him and Wolverine. But you know what? I don't think people would have been happy about that.
No, I mean, I think that, perhaps the follow-up will be Brokeback Deadpool. And
I just mean like I wanted more innuendos, more him constantly trying to hit on Wolverine and Wolverine being like, I need you to leave me.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, Will, I know that there was a time where you had essentially sworn off of most Marvel movies, but what was it about this one that you felt like, oh, I should probably check this one out? Was it to see Dogpool?
It was, exclusively to see Dogpool. I think it was the suit. It was solely Hugh Jackman in the suit. If this was Deadpool 3 and there was no Wolverine, or even if it was Wolverine and he was just wearing whatever clothes he was wearing, I would have probably waited for this and watched it at home. If there was no Wolverine, I probably would have skipped it. But the fact that he was wearing the costume, I was like, I'll go to the theater to see him in that costume.
Yeah. And do you feel like you were rewarded with your trip to the theater to see this on a big screen, whether it was IMAX or not?
It was the AMC, one of their, like, it's not an IMAX, but it's the experiential theater. I don't know which.
As you're talking, I realize that I might as well remove you from my AMC entourage at this point.
Oh, no, don't say that. That's the only thing we have of the Willtourage right now that has the word entourage.
It's the only tourage.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the only tourage that's left. All right, so you see it on a big screen.
It was cool.
Did Casey go with you, or was it one of those?
She did.
Go ahead, fine. Okay, cool.
Yeah, this was a one that she was interested in seeing. So no, I enjoyed it. I mean, I don't think I expected to not enjoy it. The trailers didn't make it look bad. There's so many Marvel movies, and I think, and I don't kind of mean this disparagingly, Ryan Reynolds' career has been going on for a really long time, and I like him a lot, and I think he's funny, but his shtick has sort of outworn its welcome for me. So the sarcasm and the tone of voice and the character are I'm feel a little burned out. And
let me have you rank whose shtick has worn the most thin: Ryan Reynolds, Jack Black, Melissa McCarthy.
I don't want. Wait, those are. If you said The Rock, I would. That's an easy number one.
Okay, yeah, you put The Rock in there too. You know what? He is always the same.
I was not expecting Jack Black and Melissa McCarthy. I feel like Jack Black has been gone. He's been quiet for so long that
I just saw a movie last night on the IMAX screen called Borderlands, and
I hear that was very, very bad.
I owe an apology to Madam Web and Unfrosted. I thought that I had seen the worst movie of 2024, and Eli Roth said, "Nope, hold my beer." Jack Black is the voice of a robot in it, and it doesn't go over well, but nothing in the movie does. But Liev, you haven't lost an ounce, and I do mean ounces, of love for Ryan Reynolds, right? So this was like, give me more. Let me bury my face in that perfect Deadpool posterior. Or am I putting words in your mouth?
I have several comments. First, pegged is a heterosexual marriage reference as well.
Are you trying to tell us something?
I'm just saying it's open. Like everybody, Christian, you and right?
Oh, I know.
You have.
I know as a wedding gift, Liev sent me a pegging set. That
you're welcome.
Yeah,
let's detour for a second to talk about pegging. Let me ask you seriously, Liev. What does it say about someone who may be interested in anal penetration who otherwise would associate as heterosexual? Does that not say that they might be a little less straight? Could they be somewhere on the spectrum of queerness that is not 100% heterosexual? Because I know some people would say, like, I don't ever want something inside my beehole, and I am a straight man. And then I know guys who are like, you know what? I like things inside my beehole, and I don't identify as 100% straight.
That is interesting, and due to my career path and my current profession, I will answer medically. And if
radio,
anybody who's Psychology 101, you have learned or would have learned that your very first sexual experience is defecating. That is the first time you enjoy as a human a sexual experience. So I believe everybody.
Who says this? What's Psychology 101 class?
It's in the books. Google it. Yeah. Not on a public computer.
Just Google it. Go to the library and Google it. I'm so glad Lynn B is here for this conversation. No, look, I understand. I can't say that I have a lot of hands-on experience with pegging, but I can certainly understand.
There's not a lot of hands involved.
Yeah, that's true. It's a great point.
Back to Hugh Jackman. I was just trying to get off pegging, like anything to get us off pegging.
No, we're staying on pegging. We're staying as long as we possibly can. I just, I find it interesting that when we discuss pegging as potentially an act of queer people, you were like, by the way, pegging can also be a totally heterosexual thing too.
No, he's reminding me of my own bedroom activities that I have accounted before. Although I will tell the abbreviated, just sort of the punchline of the story I have told on the podcast before, which was just the way out of my league time that I scored a Czech exchange student, a 19-year-old Czech exchange student, and she put her hand back there, and I said, "Honey, we don't do that here." And that was 1999. So the world was a different place in the 20th century.
Yeah.
Well, way to put her in check. That's good.
I do like that you said, "Honey, we don't do that here."
Yeah, I did. I think it's only when I tell the story.
Like she was like a waitress you picked up at a diner in Eric, Oklahoma.
She was someone who picked up me after an NBC studio tour. So she sought after me. Yes.
Do you think that she saw in you, like, he might be into some butt stuff?
Probably.
Were you giving off that energy a little bit?
I feel like he always does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have known me for a very long time. I think that the time that Liev took me out for pancakes before he started.
That is not for this podcast.
And he was just like, this guy's definitely into butt stuff. I do want to get back to the movie, but I also want to
Why?
I also want to talk about the fact that why have literally every one of you motherfuckers left me? And
we were hoping you'd take a hit. This is how bad we don't want to do the Bladtcast.
Ken was the first one quite some time ago. I don't even know.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Pre-pandemic. Ken was gone.
18, 19, yeah.
Yeah. And then Jeff hit the road. And Liev, yours was recent. But Will, yours was like a month ago. You really needed to get away from me.
No, David's was before me, I think.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying David was.
Will was more recent, which I'm excited to hear about New York. I think we're headed there September 7th.
Will just texted me that he's out of town. September 7th.
Busy.
I'm sure we'll run into each other. Small town.
Open for pegging if you want to talk about it. But it's been good. I mean, I've only been here in our current apartment for like 2.5 weeks. Yeah. So I've been in New York for 3.5 weeks. Just a lot of moving. It was like 2 weeks to get out here, visiting people, driving. Picked up Casey along the way, made the last like 5 days of the drive with her, then got to her place, then had to pack up her place, then had to move all her stuff. Then a couple days later, the pod full of the stuff from LA got delivered. We had entirely too much shit. We were going from a much bigger apartment to a much smaller apartment. I like our apartment, but it's definitely several hundred square feet smaller. So had to get rid of some things, but it's good. We're settling in.
By the way, there is zero chance that Liev will run into you without making plans because of what neighborhood you live in. So I think that most likely. Too far.
Which, are you in Manhattan?
Yeah.
He's in Harlem.
Are you in Harlem?
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with
why would he not want to go to Harlem?
Yeah, why would I not?
Because it has a reputation that precedes it. It's like, do you want to come to my new place in Compton? No, I do not.
Suspect arrested in fatal shooting outside senior housing building in Harlem. That was the first article that popped up, and I Googled it.
Well, then don't go to senior housing in Harlem.
It is
by the way,
it's not. There is a reputation that is unfortunate, and I would say not deserved. All of New York is very much, you can find that shit around the corner, and I think Harlem We could make the argument that it's a little bit racist to sort of just assume that all of Harlem is just this like dangerous crime zone, but
because there's also Spanish Harlem, so you have that. And I've had friends who lived in Harlem before, but I think you grow up with sort of the idea that you better stay below, like 96th Street.
Which is what I hear people say that all the time. Like, I don't go above like 70 something. And I'm like, why? Like, it's so cool. I love it up here. There's no,
it's great. There's amazing restaurants, fun people. I'm just trying to get Liev in trouble, and he's not taking the bait.
Wait a minute. I've never been to Harlem. I've walked all up and down. So it's on the other side of Central Park.
Have you walked?
Yeah, it's north of Central Park.
Yeah.
We've walked from downtown to Central Park.
Oh, okay.
That's
from the World Trade Center site. Yeah, it's a far. I've done that whole walk, but I've never gone further north. Once I see the Trump building, I'm like, all right, I've seen it all. I need to turn around and go back.
Give yourself a high five in front of the Trump building. Yeah, we made it.
There's the Trump casino still there in Vegas. I don't know that the Trump's Taj Mahal is still there.
Fun fact: the Trump Hotel in Vegas doesn't have a casino.
It doesn't. I stayed there once many years ago before he was even. I mean, it's like 2012 or something.
Yeah,
and I remember being like, "How does the Trump Hotel of all places not have a casino?"
Right.
Yeah,
we were so disappointed. We stayed there too. We're like, no wonder it was so cheap.
Wow. Think about how much money you saved by not having a casino in your hotel.
Oh no, I still definitely lost a couple grand. So
in the hotel with no casino, you just threw it away. Yeah,
you're putting it in the vending machine.
It was easier for you to just throw it in the garbage than it was to play blackjack.
He was playing 3-card Monty and shooting dice with the wait staff at the restaurant there.
Yeah.
Liev, I do want to give you an opportunity to talk about two very important things for people who maybe don't know. You live somewhere in Maine now, and you've, I think, discovered loves for two things, lobster roll. And so what's the best way to have a lobster roll?
Ooh, I've had it both, and I've heard there's with butter, and then which is a warm lobster, and then you have lobster cold with mayonnaise. And I like it both ways, but some places put too much butter or too much mayonnaise to where you just get sick to your stomach. So either way is good. They just need to chill on the butter and the mayonnaise. And maybe less bread, because they really like to use that brioche bun and pack it.
Yeah, I prefer the warm, but I understand what you're saying. Fun fact that McDonald's in Cape Cod have a lobster roll on.
Do they? Menu. What? Really?
Yes.
That's not lobster.
We've got to go to the
Yeah,
I think that's rib. Is it shaped in the shape of a lobster? Just a bunch of
might
weird
be.
Meat
and by the way, I am generally with Lynn B that there's no such thing as too much butter.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Too much mayonnaise.
I've had it. It's so bad.
And then I want you to take a moment and talk about your new love, the puffin.
Yes, we got to see those. So they only exist in the contiguous United States in Maine, which is why we moved here. Most people think it was a career move, but it was not. Some thought it was to be closer to Will. That's partially true, but I would have picked somewhere closer to Will instead of Maine. But it was to see the puffins, and we've accomplished that. So now we're here, and we've signed contracts and stuff. So we kind of gotta
with the puffins contracts with.
Well, no, with other things to see the puffins. We were using them, the people we signed contracts with to see the puffins, but we knocked that out pretty early. So now we're stuck here.
I hope that's a name, a sports team name there in Maine. The Puffins.
Oh, there should be a puffins team.
I'd watch whatever sport that is.
I'm trying to get an endorsement with a tattoo shop here, and I keep trying to get them to give me a free puffin tattoo on my lower rib cage, left side. No one's biting yet.
Not just below the one that says "I like to party."
No, I want to save that for something good. I just don't know what yet.
Yeah. No, you definitely have to figure it out. Well, my son Felix went through a puffin phase. A friend sent him a stuffed puffin from Newfoundland, which is north of Maine, up in Canada, and that's another spot that has them. I don't know why they like. I guess because it's cold up there, or maybe they just like lobster roll. But
they migrate north in the winter, so I don't. They're dumb. I have no idea, but they are very entertaining. Like they're like, we're gonna leave this warm weather during the summer and go north.
I enjoy various aspects of Liev's social media, and when you get excited about something or you're possibly doing an endorsement deal for a local fast food place, I enjoy how much you post about them. That's not there in Maine. That was I'm talking about bakers, which I think you must have been paid to be posting about this.
I try to get on the cusp of like just the border of annoying and then barrel right over it and keep going. Like people are like, oh, he'll stop now. He knows. And then nope, keep going.
I think that's why we adore you. And we appreciate it. Well, I'm glad that you guys ran away from me. And how is your born and bred Southern California wife taking to Maine?
She's doing good. We've gotten to see it. Like Maine is very pretty. We knew it was pretty, but we didn't expect how pretty it would be in person. So we're enjoying that, but we keep getting told winter. Like for example, I was told all the lakes and the Penobscot River, which runs through Bangor, freezes over, and you can drive your car out on it. You can drive your car out on the lakes, the middle of the lakes, because that's how cold, that's how much ice, that's how thick the ice gets here. So we'll probably be back in, I don't know, LA, March, April. We'll be back in California soon.
All right. Well, that's good. I've still got some money on my Rock and Brews gift card. So it was like a $500 gift card that I bought.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you boys are settling in and having fun, making time for Deadpool. And I know that Liev, you posted a picture of Stephen King's house the other day. That wasn't creepy at all.
He's 7 minutes away.
Yeah. How disappointed were you that the town is pronounced Bangor and not Banger? Because just think of all the jokes you had on the whole drive there. You'd written them out and you were like, I can't wait to use all these.
I was puffing disappointed. I was puffing furious because that was the other reason. There was like the main reason, and then Will, and then on the other side of that Will, like the tree of reasons of why I moved over here is the Bangor, but Bangor.
How far are you from New York City?
7 hours. We're gonna do the drive. One of my buddies is gonna be there with his girlfriend, who I think he's gonna propose to soon. But they're gonna be in New York for a week, so we're going to test it. We're going to see what it's like to do the drive.
If your buddy and his girlfriend listen to the Bladtcast, you just spoiled
You just ruined everything.
Yeah. Which I know that they do. So
I don't think he's not going to propose in New York, but you can just tell when they're getting close.
Yeah. No, I know you can tell because the long-term girlfriend starts getting more annoyed every time you see him, and you can kind of see. And then like when you finally get to congratulate them on being engaged, it's like, oh, look how much happier she is. Not that that's from my life. This is just sort of more hypothetical, pulling it out of the sky. This is but I'm glad you boys are having fun. I don't miss either of you even a little bit.
Lies.
I didn't think that you would.
The last time I saw Will, we had brunch and recorded a podcast. Today, just a podcast, no brunch, but maybe next time. So, Liev, I know that you do like some superhero characters and you follow them. And I think we were all shocked many years ago when you had a girlfriend who had never seen any Batman movies. We don't have to talk about that, but that should be like in the first 5 questions that you ask someone. You're like, oh yeah. You're like, which one's Batman? Is it the one with the R on? Is it the one with the R on his shirt? No, that's Robin. So did you feel that like any of the stuff happening in here in this movie was like, I might like this movie more if I was a bigger nerd? Or do you think that they did a good job of like, there's stuff for the nerds that Will and I will talk about in a moment but you didn't feel like,
yeah,
well, that didn't make
and
sense.
I can bail in like 10 minutes. Yeah, when you guys get into that nerd stuff,
we'll get to it in a little bit.
You have to stay.
Yeah.
No, I thought so. I'm like mid-level nerd, right? Would we agree? Like, I don't know the comics. I never read the comics.
Yeah,
and
you're
know
hip to the IP.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
So I loved it, and I was very excited for it. And I was excited. I nerded out when I saw the yellow suit. Like when the trailer came out, I first got to Maine, and I first met my coworkers, and they dropped the trailer and Like a Prayer and the beat and everything, and I made my two colleagues that I work with watch it on repeat. Like I that must have terrified them. They were like, "Who did we just hire? Who is this dork from LA, from California? Why?" Yeah, I was pumped for the movie, and it was everything I expected. I thought it was great, and I was praying it would do something to kind of revive the Marvel movies because they were bad. They're bad. The last few have been awful. And it got me re-excited. Like I know the witch movie from WandaVision.
Well, that's going to be a TV show,
right? But it got me. Now I'm excited to watch that. I'm excited to watch Marvel again to see if they can take Deadpool and what happened in Deadpool and kind of. I wish they'd get rid of this multiverse. It's so confusing.
Well, they do mention it in the movie. They even have
to
say that we're kind of over the multiverse. And apparently there was an element to this story that was going to refer to the Kang dynasty, which they were working towards until some truly unfortunate behavior by Jonathan Majors that led them in a different direction. And by unfortunate, I mean criminal behavior. So there was going to be
alleged, right? Or was he?
No, I think he was found guilty, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So we used to have to say alleged when we first started talking about this, but there was going to be, I think that the Wolverine in this movie, his backstory was going to be something about like running away from the Kangs and they killed the X-Men. And so he felt like a coward. And that's why his story maybe doesn't hold that much water to me, because you're telling me the humans came for the X-Men? The humans? You mean the people without powers showed up?
Well, you get enough of them.
Did they have a Sentinel? Oh my gosh!
No, it was Dr. Doom who came. For the X-Men.
Now that would make more sense, but yeah, and I
that
agree
would be
with
cool.
You. I think getting the suit was great. Having it run through the movie, even in true Deadpool fashion, it being on the nose. Like, you want to tell me about it, or save it for a big Act 3 flashback? And
yeah,
I think that they did it perfectly, where he flips up the hood during the key moment in the movie. And it's just sort of like, this is everything I wanted as a kid. I was talking before, Will, the 11-year-old who saw RoboCop in the theater, getting a comic book accurate Wolverine, even though it's that stupid yellow suit and not the one behind me for a visual audience, the brown one, but whatever.
Well, they did it briefly. You got it briefly.
Yeah. I got this briefly because you saw the Hulk in his claws. Green Hulk, not Gray Hulk. But again, I'm not nitpicking. Talk a little bit about getting to actually see it, Will. And yes, it was in the trailers and everything, but flipping up the hood and finally delivering something to us that as lads, we were always like, boy, would be cool if an X-Men movie looked like the X-Men.
Right. Which it's so funny reading about like all these conversations now, because obviously superhero movies are very much a staple and the costumes are, well, people welcome them even being a little bit more corny. Like there's a degree to which I've always want to find the balance between like, how would this look in real life and what's comic book accurate? Like, as much as I loved and laughed at Channing Tatum as Gambit, that costume was too accurate and he looked so silly, but it worked for his performance too, with his like very over the top, like garbly Cajun accent. But I mean, it's like I said, this was really the biggest determining factor of why I went to go see it in the theater. Was I just wanted to see this suit. Have been wanting to see it since I was a kid, because I was never huge into the X-Men, but I think like any like casual X-Men fan, loved Wolverine. So yes, I actually would have preferred that they go and commit to the other layer of it and do the brown and yellow instead. But I was glad that I knew that was going to be there in some capacity as like a reference, or you're going to see it somehow. I was like, I'd be hard pressed, or it'd be hard to believe that they would ignore it. And I didn't expect a whole montage full of other like iconic X-Men Wolverine things. And then like him as like a 5'4" guy where he gets off the bar stool and he's like, "Oh, look at you comic book accurate height."
Yeah. And, after I saw that scene, and when I've talked to people about it, getting that small Wolverine, one of the early conversations I had probably on the Bladtcast with X-Men writer Chris Claremont, he talked about how he wanted to play Wolverine in the movies, and it was Bob Hoskins from Roger Rabbit. And I mean, I'm like, all right, he's kind of the right height, and I guess he has all the arm hair that you need. But apart from that, I'm like, I can't imagine that. Hugh Jackman is definitely too tall to play Wolverine. But as soon as he was in that first movie, I'm like, I kind of don't want to see anyone else. I mean, Liev, I don't think you could have somebody else as Wolverine unless you have a list. I don't know.
No, he's the only one. After seeing him in Someone Like You, I knew that he was going to be Wolverine. Hit movie with Ashley Judd. If you haven't seen it, go. It's fantastic movie. And then after you're done with it, you're like, Wolverine's next for Hugh Jackman.
You just knew that was the next.
I did.
What did Will, as someone who it's very well established that your preference has always been for DC characters, and we know how much these movies meant to you. How'd you feel about seeing Henry Cavill as Wolverine?
I didn't need it.
Okay.
It didn't serve anything for me. Maybe that's some internal ongoing thing that I'm not privy to. That
it's like having John Krasinski play Mr. Fantastic. It's like a thing that people were talking about, and sort of like it's like fan casting that was never going to happen.
I didn't like it I had heard about that John Krasinski thing, and then when I saw him, although I hated that Doctor Strange movie.
You also walked out of that movie.
I did, but I saw that. I walked out after that scene. When I watched her kill all of them, I was like, yeah, this movie sucks. And I just left. But I didn't need him I liked seeing Patrick Stewart as like animated X-Men Professor X and his little like wheelchair thing. But the Henry Cavill thing, it did nothing for me. I guess it would be cool for people if he played Wolverine. I really think they should start like fresh, which they're not going to ask Henry Cavill to play Wolverine. Like,
no, I don't think they ever will. Did you take offense when he said, "We'll treat you better than those fuck sticks down the street"? Yeah.
No, I mean, it was a mess. I still know it's a mess. It's been a mess. You know what I mean? It's like there were so many better ways to handle that.
They did not treat him well to bring him back for Black Adam.
That was fucked up. That was very. I don't know how they didn't have two camps of people had separate conversations and none of them spoke to each other except for probably like the one guy who we all know.
Your guy.
Was like, I think I heard that actually I was in their office yesterday. I just real quick, maybe, but nobody listens to that guy. So
Liev, do you keep up with all superhero movies, or do you pick and choose? Like, did you see Black Adam because The Rock was in it and you figured like, oh, this will probably be awesome?
I did see it, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. I know The Rock does play the same character.
He does. Yeah, but as long as you know, I mean, he played the same character in Jungle Cruise. That's when I'm like, okay, he's got that one note. So if you're buying a ticket to a movie with The Rock, you're like, okay, I'm going to get The Rock in this. He's not doing anything else. It's not Dwayne Johnson, Shakespeare in the Park. It's going to
if you're going to go see a Rock movie, it's not because of his acting. It's because you enjoy The Rock. It's like seeing a Kevin Hart movie or an Adam Sandler movie. Like, you know that you're a fan of them, and for an hour and a half, 2 hours, you're gonna smile and enjoy their company.
Yeah, Kevin Hart was in that movie Borderlands that I saw last night. I neither smiled nor enjoyed his company, but in general, I do like Kevin Hart because it's the same thing. Kevin Hart brings the same presence to a movie that you know what you're gonna get when you hire.
Is that a superhero movie?
Borderlands is a video game movie, and it shows. Yeah.
Oh, I saw that got horrible reviews.
Yeah.
You mentioned Unfrosted. Okay, yeah. I enjoyed that, but I think because so many people, because so many people bashed it. Yeah, so I put it on with very low expectations, and then I sat through it on my couch, and I was like, yeah, and I kind of want Pop-Tarts now.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't had a Pop-Tart since I saw that.
It's my next cheat day. I can't wait. Pop-Tarts and Oreos.
I was gonna say I saw an Instagram photo of you recently. You're looking trim. What are you doing?
Oh, so much running. I'm alone. I'm in Maine, Will. I'm alone. I do nothing but run.
The only person you have to hang out with is your wife. Is that good or bad?
That's a good thing.
Okay.
Show. Let's come on. We bought a ticket to the gun show. Show us what's
happening. Let's go. I'm not doing that.
I didn't say take off your shirt, but if you want to, that's fine. Anybody except me can take off their shirt on this show. But all right.
You'll have to use your imagination. I'm not a piece of meat.
Oh, okay.
For you to sell subscriptions to your Bladtcast.
Man, you really have changed. You're not a piece of meat. Well, speaking of pieces of meat, let's talk about something that I think most people don't agree with me on. One of the reasons why Hugh Jackman said he didn't want to play Wolverine again is that he doesn't want to get in that kind of shape.
Yeah.
I have put out the idea that that's not him at the end when the shirt is off. He's got the mask on, CGI, AI, all that stuff is great. It's impressive. They put him in the little, I don't know, kimono, the little bathrobe. And I'm just like, I don't know. And, Deadpool says the exact terminology is put your greasy tits away. I'm embarrassed that Lynn B's still watching. But in any case, what do you think, Will? As somebody, same question for both of you, but I'll go to Will first. Do you think that that's definitely Hugh Jackman, or am I possibly speaking truth to power, as they say?
I think it's him. I don't think there's any reason for them to use a body double. I think, and I don't mean this in a negative way, I'm not even a famous person, and I would feel similarly. I don't think Hugh Jackman would let somebody do it. You know what I mean? I think as a performer and as an actor and as somebody who's been in that shape and knows how to train for movies and is that kind of movie star, like I wouldn't be surprised if he was like, absolutely not. Like I'm gonna do it. Like it's hard, but I'm gonna do it. And I mean, it doesn't really mean anything if the director says like, that's definitely him. Like the amount of movies where people are like, we did all these effects practical. And then there's all these videos from the VFX teams who are like, oh really? And then they like show all their like layers of VFX. But I mean, you can tell too, like I noticed as you age, obviously your skin loses elasticity, and he's 55. And so like on the edges of his suit, I think where anybody would have like love handles, he's very lean, but his skin is just naturally not as like bouncy as it used to be. Yeah. So it's like, there was like little things where I'm like, oh, it's like, I was like, this is a nice thing that most people probably are not looking at, but me, who's like got plenty of body dysmorphia, is like, oh, look at Hugh Jackman's like older skin hanging over the edges of his suit. Reminds me that he's still human, even if he has access to things like TRT.
Liev, are you feeling like I'm trying to disprove Santa Claus and I should just leave it alone, or what are your thoughts?
I'm kind of, now I'm reflecting on, because Will was.
Uh-oh, we lost you for a second there. What happened?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. We can hear you.
I'm reflecting on Will because he was in that shape one day, or used to be. And I'm remembering when Will looked like that.
Yeah, because I was like 23.
Oh, yeah.
And like even now at like 36, I'm like, fuck me. This like even not drinking for now over a year and being pretty strict, and like there's just areas of the body where the dysmorphia, like to anybody else, they'd probably be like, wow, he's in really great shape. To me, I'm like, look at this fat over here.
No, you did a lot. I remember you put a lot of work in, and Hugh Jackman did too. I follow Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman's accounts, and they would post videos occasionally of their workouts. He was doing the work, and I think that was him. Yeah. I don't think it matters either, because I mean it was. I don't know. I kind of looked at it, I was like, yeah, damn. Like, that's impressive. That's Wolverine.
Yeah.
I do think it was him. Just go back and look at him working out. He was kicking butt.
Yeah, Christian, didn't you see all those videos of him tap dancing like crazy when he was doing the Music Man?
I did like the threat of having him sing the second act of the Music Man without warming up. What were some of the fun? There were definitely some good Easter eggs and characters who were surprises. Were there any, Liev, that jumped out at you? Anybody that you weren't expecting to see, or anything that happened that you were like, oh, I'm the mid-level nerd who appreciates this? Or was there anything that you thought was pretty cool?
I mean, I think the obvious, Wesley Snipes.
Yep.
As Blade, that was cool because I remember those movies. Mainly because wasn't Jessica Biel in those, or in like the
Number
third
3.
one?
Yeah, with Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, yeah.
Right, and then now Chris Evans, of course.
That was nice.
Big.
Did you think that he was Captain America? Because most people were like, I thought he was Captain America.
I forgot he played Fantastic. He was one of the Fantastic Four, one of the OGs. I totally forgot.
Part of the
when he did it, I looked at Taylor and I was like, like doing this. I did see it with Taylor, and she enjoyed it. Somebody who hasn't seen all the films, she just loved it. She laughed the whole time. But I'm like, you have no idea what this means, but that is so huge.
Yeah. Part of the reason I needed to rush to the theater also was all the cameos were getting spoiled. So that one I had Henry Cavill, and that one I had mistakenly read somewhere. And it's like they're just in the most casual places where I was like, oh fuck, I should probably go see this movie. But
I went opening night for that reason.
Some rumors that I had read before, and like plenty of things I forgot about. You know what I mean? So I had read somewhere that Elektra was going to be in it, but kind of forgot until that scene, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. But was surprised by Wesley Snipes' Gambit, I think.
The Channing Tatum is Gambit. I did have to explain to my wife why he's in there, and I thought that there were some definite nods to the fact that movie was in development hell for so long. Yeah, he's like, maybe I was born in the void, stuff like that. And I've said before that I think it's great that he was in there. It was really fun. That even though it was impractical, we did get a comic book accurate Gambit, but it had me convinced that whoever the guy in the room that you talk about, the studio exec at Fox, who said Channing Tatum doesn't work as Gambit, that person should keep their job. They earned their money. I can't imagine a movie. And no, the accent wouldn't have been that thick in the actual movie, but I was just like, oh, this would not have worked. But tell me I'm wrong, Liev.
No, I agree. He didn't work. Who played Gambit? What was his name? In the X-Men movie.
So in X-Men Origins Wolverine was Taylor.
I thought he was good.
He was not happy. But that movie in general didn't.
The movie in general. The thing that I'll always say about that movie, though, is that Liev Schreiber was great as Sabretooth, but the movie is absolute garbage. Even Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool in that movie is terrible.
Yeah. You need a darker person to play Gambit. Channing Tatum's too humorous. He's too funny. He's too attractive, I think.
Who was more disappointed at seeing a movie with Channing Tatum in it and he kept his shirt on the entire time? You or Taylor?
Both equally. That's why we got married, actually, over Channing Tatum. Magic Mike was our first movie together, and we both kind of locked eyes and were like, are we both going to picture him? And we're like, yeah, let's get this on.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
And I thought, it was fun to see Jennifer Garner. I had heard that a long time ago. That was one of those like set leaks that was so early that there was no way to stop hearing about it. But I like when I forget about them. Getting X-23 from the Logan movie, I think that I expected them to have made a movie with her like after Logan came out, and maybe there was a plan, but I was just like, oh, okay, they're going to continue to tell Wolverine stories with her. But it's more of a Will question to start, but what did you think of the protagonist of The Void, Cassandra Nova? I'm going to assume that's a character you weren't particularly familiar with ahead of time, William.
No, I did not know who that was.
And what did you think of her, especially when she would read people's thoughts by putting her finger in their brains?
She's fine. It's what she's like every other stock Marvel movie. Every bad guy's the same now. They're all pretty much the same. They usually have a British accent. They speak with a deep voice, male or female, and they make outrageous claims, and then they always lose. And I mean, these movies now, and this movie is not excluded. They have not had stakes since almost the beginning. So
yeah,
I think that's a big reason of why I feel so burned out on them, because I just don't feel that they actually mean anything. You know, like they're not building. I don't go to these movies as an audience and be like, boy, I hope they get out of this one alive. You know, like I know 50 years from now, if they're still making these fucking movies, it's going to be the same thing. So
they will be. Yeah, it would be like mid-season in Entourage, when it would look like Vinny Chase wasn't going to get the movie that everybody thought he was going to, and then he gets drunk for an episode. And then the next thing you know, all of a sudden he's an Aquaman. Yeah. So I get that. Her name is Emma Corrin, and she plays Princess Diana on The Crown. But I thought that as bald, and Ivan Soto's in the chat. He's heard me say this on other shows where I've talked about this. He says Jennifer Garner wasn't announced. I really thought she was. It wasn't officially announced. It was just sort of a badly kept secret. I thought that she looked exactly like James McAvoy in the later First Class movies, like with the bald head. I was just like, however they made her up with her bald cap, I'm like, yes, I could see this being his. And it's just the most convoluted character backstory ever, that she was like in the womb, but like died in the womb, and it's transdimensional being. It's like the worst of comic books. You know, Will, we talk a lot about how sometimes you're like, don't explain it too much. The explanation is just comic books. But then sometimes it's just stupid, you know. So, but so the character's backstory, I thought that she was fun. Liev, you have a thing for bald chicks, or not your thing?
No, I thought she was pretty attractive.
Yeah, all right. Then I invite you to see Star Trek: The Motion Picture, because there's a model named Perseus Kambata is in there, and it's I think that it was a fun performance. Very cartoony and comic booky. What did we think of it? And they even name check Mad Max as IP that they don't want to violate. I'm not quite sure why the Void was envisioned as Mad Max, when it's, I was just like, okay, it's a choice, but I don't know how I felt about sort of the background of the Void. Am I overthinking it, Liev?
Yeah, you got too nerdy there for me. Yeah,
I had the last movie I saw before this was Furiosa, the most recent Mad Max movie, and the Mad Max movie had too much Mad Max in it. So then I go to see this, and I was like, well, I wasn't expecting there to be any Mad Max in this, Yeah. So maybe that's what it came down to. But all right, so there's some great fight scenes. I think I have my favorite. Liev, do you have a favorite sequence of murder, mayhem, and blood in Deadpool and Wolverine?
Oh, I mean, it had to be in all the Deadpools, right? That was probably the best.
I like when they get on the bus and just sort of work through it.
I mean, those two going at it in the what was the car? Not a Subaru, but it's Wolverine and Deadpool going at it too. And then they're still fighting the next day. It's kind of
for me, it's the car, because I do like when fight scenes have music that doesn't match it. So they have the one that I want from Grease. I thought that one was the most fun, but it is sort of a flaw that people have had with the movies. You have two characters who can't die fighting each other. So a friend of mine who goes by Carlos Danger, he's been on this show. He said that they made stabbing boring in this movie. And I'm like, well, I don't agree, but I see what he's saying. What do you think about the fight scenes, Will?
They're cool. I mean, they're like I feel like I'm a broken record. All these movies are the same, Christian. They're all the same. So the fight scenes are stylized. They're cool. They look great. Everything's shot well. It's lit evenly. They do stunts. They do CGI. But when I watch them, they all feel the same to me. So I was like, I like seeing Wolverine fighting in the costume I liked how fast he killed that X-Men 1 Sabretooth, who always seemed not that menacing in that movie for whatever reason. So I thought it was funny that you've got the two guys who can't die. I thought it was funnier that not all the Deadpools could regenerate, so the like handsome Deadpool got killed.
Nicepool, yeah, Nicepool.
Great. Yeah. Where like I love that also that version of him was Ryan Reynolds like really turning on his Canadian accent. So they were like I thought the little touches were more entertaining for me than just like the fight. You know, like then all the Deadpools show up. I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. There's all these different variations, but then they like kill them all, and I was like, okay. And then they all come back to life, and I was like, of course they do. You know, like I don't know. I guess I didn't feel I felt more interested in the character dynamics. The best fucking line of the movie, where I'm always like hard on these movies, wanting at least something emotional to tell me that the movie's about more than just the plot. And they tried very briefly, and I was like, that's a pretty good line, where he's talking to X-23, and she leaves, and she does the little very stereotypical turnaround. She says, "You were always the wrong guy." And I was like, that's good writing. I'm very happy about that. So that was the standout to me more than the fight. I thought it was that they had something that they understood about
it was like they gave Hugh Jackman a few things to do, and it's all sort of the relation to his backstory. I did like that scene with X-23, and I thought that was kind of a great line. It was a good moment. And look, there's a lot of fighting in this movie, but I did talk earlier about 11-year-old me who went to see RoboCop in the theater. Also, when I was 11, was the first issue of the monthly ongoing Wolverine series, and they bragged about how the body count was 125 people dying in there. So again, the 11-year-old me getting to see him in the suit, getting that much blood and mayhem. I loved all of it, but I will have to say that I disagree with your earlier point that the first two Deadpools might be great R-rated movies for kids to see when they're not supposed to. The opening sequence of this movie with just the bones and it was I feel like this was saying, oh, you're worried about Disney making a Deadpool movie? All right, we'll show you that this is what we're going to do. And it was there was so much to watch. I could almost not eat my popcorn while I was watching it. Actually, I have something to confess. My wife and I, we went to go see this movie Friday the day after it came out, 9:30 in the morning. As soon as we dropped the kids off at day camp, I didn't have a single kernel of popcorn while I watched it.
What? You didn't have breakfast popcorn?
No, I needed it to be like at least 11 for me to have breakfast popcorn.
Oh, man.
No, I saw it a second time. I got 2 buckets of popcorn to make up for it. But I know if our friend Jeff were here, he would actually have just walked out when I said that I didn't eat popcorn. But
I had the biggest tub of popcorn ready to go.
Did you get one of
my drinking? No, I didn't.
You didn't get the Wolverine one?
No, I wanted to, but we're in Maine. They don't. Listen, they have a very nice theater here, and I'm just thankful that we were able to go and see it. On opening day. But I got to go after this comment, and I want to agree with Will. Like he's right about all the Marvel films being the same. I think the difference with this one is, in fact, the writing, and that's why it was entertaining, because the writing was humorous, and it was a movie that everyone could enjoy, whether you're a dork or somebody new to these films. Yeah. That's the difference. That's the difference between all these new Marvel films. That is actually entertaining. It's actually funny. It doesn't matter. I didn't care who died, who stayed alive. You knew how it was going to end, actually.
Yeah. Casey was probably like Taylor, where she's like, I don't fucking understand half or more of the things that they're talking about. But like, I can understand that it's like objectively entertaining and funny.
I'll let you go in a moment. Did you see Eternals? Speaking of Marvel movies.
I tried.
Because I was going to say, this is, I don't have the problems with that movie that some people did, but this is kind of the opposite of that. It's like, that's so dense. There's like 12 characters that are all main characters. And you're just like, no, this is simple. This is streamlined. Liev, Will and I will nerd out in a moment. I appreciate you taking the time to do your favorite thing to do with me, which is be on the Bladtcast. But now that you moved to Maine, there's nothing else we can really do. This is it. There's no rock and brews until you're here, because look, when you're back in Southern California, you got other people to see, I'll
actually be hitting you up over Christmas break, Christian.
All right.
Let you know that I have other people to see, and maybe next trip.
I'll be going to Hawaii on the 26th, so it'll be great to not see. Yeah. Okay. So, did Dogpool remind you of your dog Moo at all?
No, but that was cute and funny, and I'm glad that they picked a dog like that. I don't know what the purpose was, or I don't know if it was but it was funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when Hugh Jackman walked out with him and used him as a shield, I was just like every little, I laughed that whole movie. I'm going to go see it again. It was so fun.
Good. You should. I'll send you a Wolverine popcorn bucket. Liev, you don't want anybody to find you, don't want anybody to follow you, but some people will occasionally message you. So Jason Blair will watch this, and then he'll probably send you something on Instagram or whatever. But we appreciate your time. It's good to see you. I'm glad that you're settling into Maine, and I can't wait to hear about your first Maine winter. That's going to be the fun part. I'm excited for that. And you've been to Fenway Park already, right?
No, I need to go. And thank you for reminding me. God.
Yeah,
we're going to Boston next weekend.
He's got a list with 2 things on it. Visit Will, Fenway Park. That's all he's got to do. You already went to Stephen King's house.
Oh, I go by that every day. So that's just on my way home. Hey, Stephen, you don't live here anymore, but it's cool.
It's cool to just hang out at your house. Yeah. Well, I do appreciate you making the time. And as these guys know from messaging me, it's infuriating to schedule this and have to put it in Eastern time for both of them, but I'll deal with it. I will let you go. Give my best to Taylor, and give my best to whatever lobster roll you're about to demolish, even though it's not a cheat day.
I appreciate you guys. Miss you both.
Yeah, miss.
Goodbye.
Thought he was good. I thought we were gonna get some tongue there.
But, I thought, I was like, we're gonna say something, but then you started saying something, and I was like, wait, should I not say something? But
yeah, that's
well, we missed you, Liev. Oh, bye. He's already gone.
He's already gone. I know he's not even backstage anymore. But I appreciate that. All right. So before we move on to the last thing that's not Deadpool related, we do have to nerd out to stuff. We talked about the nod to the Incredible Hulk 340, the Todd McFarlane cover, where you see the Hulk's reflection in Wolverine's claws. Awesome. What did you think of any of the other comic book accurate nods that we got?
I mean, they were fun. It was like it worked for the movie, and it's just like one of those things where you're like, God, the comic books can be wild. You know what I mean? And like adapting them accurately is also not. Like the one where he's like missing a hand and his hair is all like big and teased and like it's so 80s.
That's
where he's
so the one where he's being crucified, the cover of Uncanny 251, that's very exciting for me. That's Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. So that's the alternate reality Wolverine. My favorite thing is, and I've said this before, is how he just beats Deadpool with his adamantium stump for the hand that he's missing. And I thought it was great. This cover that they have where Wolverine's basically being crucified, like they had all the skulls and everything. They featured, all this stuff that I was just like, oh my God, it's like they're talking to me, I don't know. And again, you don't need to have a whole scene set in any of those worlds. I liked it as a montage popping through and like, hey, remember this? So it's like, it really, it's like a medley of Wolverine's greatest hits,
Yeah. And I liked seeing the one where he's got the eye patch.
That character's name, by the way, is Patch.
Is it really?
Yeah. He had basically a secret identity where he wasn't Wolverine. This was for the ongoing monthly Wolverine series. The original conceit that he wasn't being Wolverine in it. So he dressed up as Patch, and as soon as the creative team changed, it was just like, we all knew it was you, but nobody wanted to say, hey, what's with this stupid eye patch logo?
Right.
there's that sort of fun. And I'd forgotten about that. That was like a great reveal to get Patch. And again, the greatest hits. Don't give us a Disney Plus Patch movie. Don't give us a spinoff. But there he is, another iconic cover.
Right. Yeah,
Wolverine as Patch with Hulk, who at that point was using he was a bouncer, and he went by the name Mr. Fix-It. So this is a very specific moment in time where they were both using stupid aliases.
No, I would much rather see a Patch and Mr. Fix-It movie where they just are those characters for like 90 minutes. There's no real fighting. There's not really any comic bookiness. They just happen to be those characters. It would be great. Yeah. I do like seeing that the Hulk is still gray, or maybe he was gray on purpose.
No, that he switched back to gray at one point.
Okay,
and I don't.
Why? Just because
they were like at issue like 320 or something. So they decided, because he was only gray for like the first 6 issues or something,
right? And that was a cost reason, wasn't it?
I think so. And then they're just like, I think you're right. Ivan Soto does want to know, why isn't he green? You're gonna have to Google Gray Hulk. There's a couple of Gray Hulks, and you do have to get ready for Red Hulk, Ivan. It's coming.
I saw that trailer.
Yeah. All right. So this movie's fun. It's kind of, I don't know what, other than Carlos, who said they made stabbing boring. For the most part, everybody who saw this is like, they sat down and like, okay, this at least met my expectations for what a third Deadpool movie would be. Bringing Wolverine on board, that's the key, I think.
Yeah.
No disappointments. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I've seen it twice. I'll probably wait to watch it again at home because
with the kids.
the new Alien movie comes out tonight, so maybe I'll see that. Yeah. So, but in any case, so where are you at in terms of we talked about the Red Hulk. That is a Captain America movie. That is a Sam Wilson Captain America movie. Does that look like, it's just more of the same? Or is there a chance you're like, I like Harrison Ford. I like Anthony Mackie, but I'm not sure where you're at.
I really enjoyed Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the TV show. And Captain America was always a character that I wanted to, it doesn't matter if it's Sam or Steve. Like, I'm interested in, I think the political aspect of that character is also, it's like the one character that I feel like in the movies they're able to try to do a little bit more with, because it's kind of hard to completely ignore what that character represents and how it looks given how things change and the conversations we're having. You know what I mean? Like, to say like that for Captain America to go from being Steve Rogers to Sam Wilson without anybody really talking about that, you know what I mean? It's like hard to imagine. And so like, I love that the show had that whole story about the Black super soldiers and all the, different thing, which I guess that's based on a comic book, but I haven't read it.
Yes. Yeah. And that character's in the trailer, the sort of in between the 50s super soldier.
Okay.
So we see him in there. Yeah.
I guess I missed him. But yeah, no, I'll see it. I don't know. I don't actually really know what the Red Hulk is. I don't really care, to be honest with you, but I'm like, I guess it'll make sense to me when I watch it. But that is not the thing that makes me like very excited. And I guess that's Harrison Ford turns into that Hulk.
Correct. And he's Thunderbolt Ross, who he's taken over the role because I forgot his name now. William Hurt has passed away.
Yeah.
So
what movies was he in? I guess I don't remember.
He was in the Hulk movies. He's also in Black Widow, which I would assume that if there was ever a movie you were going to skip, it was that one.
I did not see that.
Yeah, because it was like not even set in the continuity that was current at that time. You know what I mean? It was just like, this movie's 6 years ago. Let's watch it. And they'll introduce some other characters that we want you to care about at some point. What I like is some of the images that we're seeing of Red Hulk is that he does look like Harrison Ford, but specifically he looks like Harrison Ford when people ask him dumb nerd questions, which there's some great videos that we've shared on the show I do, Marvel Movie Talk, over on the Geekscape Network, just where people ask him questions, and he's not really rude. He's just like, I'm not going to answer your stupid question, but thank you for asking it. You know, he's sort of polite about like, no, I don't want to be any part of this. But I don't remember seeing that face. Is that I've only seen one trailer. Is there more than one? This is a newer trailer. Yeah. Oh, there's another one. I think that's actually from D23. It's that trailer that we don't even have yet. And let me address Ivan really quick. Thunderbolts trailer was very good. They really are Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad, aren't they? Yeah, I think it's the similar idea. Bad guys that you try to get to do some good, but they're less bad than the Suicide Squad. You don't have, an implant in their brain that might explode. I didn't realize there was a trailer for that movie either. It's not an official trailer. Okay. See, Ivan, like me, he works the back streets, man. We find out when somebody films a screen at a con, and then if you ever see that something like that is something you want to see, you always have to watch it right away because it will get taken down very quickly. I did see that weird Fantastic Four non-trailer thing that they cut together that somebody filmed, which I was like, okay. I'm interested to see that because I love the Fantastic Four and have always been waiting for a good version of it, which we have joked about this, but I still kind of think it's true, is that like, it's really weird that the Roger Corman version of Fantastic Four is like technically the best one that we've gotten. I don't even say that technically it is the best that we've gotten. And it's not even an officially released movie, but I'm so checked out, I think, just by the now that I live in New York, there's a lot of that. You hear that's all right. I mean, you didn't live out in the Great Plains when you were in LA either. It's okay. That's true. As checked out as I am very bummed out about Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom. I think that's such a waste. I think I agree with you. It felt desperate. I do think that, he's great. I don't even think he will be a bad Dr. Doom in a movie. It's just why, so many other actors would be so much better. He's had his thing, and to hire him, bring back the Russos, it all feels, desperate, My friend said it feels like when McDonald's brings back the McRib, which we already made a McRib joke, but I was like, that's true. You know what? We're allowed 2 McRib jokes per episode of this show, so it's fine. They bring it back twice a year. Yes, right, exactly. So that's kind of a bummer, and because I wanted to see, I was like, maybe this will be the first like really good Fantastic Four movie. I can't wait to see what they do with Dr. Doom. And then it was that, and I was like, oh man, that kind of sucks all the fucking air out of the balloon. I know, and Fantastic Four excitement a little bit. And I tried to temper it by saying it's like an alternate reality Dr. Doom or something. And, all indications are it's that he actually is Dr. Doom. By the way, we were talking a moment ago about the Roger Corman Fantastic Four. And it's a good time to remind people that earlier this summer, I actually had the opportunity to interview Joseph Culp, who played Dr. Doom in that film. I did this. You can find that on the Geekscape channel. And my buddy Eric Connor, who's been on the show a number of times, and I got to speak directly to Doom himself. It was great. And interestingly, he had also been on Mad Men. He played in flashbacks Don Draper's father. And I mentioned that my wife had worked on that show, and so we talked a little bit about that. He's great. His father was Robert Culp, who was on I Spy with Bill Cosby. So he's got a Hollywood pedigree, I believe is the way to say that. Okay. So people can check that out. And look, I did want to ask you, I felt like the Fantastic Four might be one that you're like, all right, I'll check that out because I like them. I mean, unless it's getting like Eternals like reviews in the pre-release, then you're like, oh, maybe I'll wait. But I mean, I want those characters to be done right. I do love those characters.
Yeah.
And I'm still waiting, Will.
Still waiting. I mean, I think the casting is good. Like, I love Pedro Pascal, but like, that's the one that kind of lags for me. Not because I don't think that he won't be good. That was one of the castings where like there was the hype and then they did it. And I was like, oh, I didn't actually think that they were going to cast him. The person I actually think is perfect casting is the guy, and I don't actually know how to say his full name because it's like 3 names. Ebon Moss. What's his name? Something. Anyway, he played Micro in the Punisher show and he's in that show, The Bear. Oh, yeah. But he's playing the Thing, and seeing him in The Bear, like that character is very angry all the time. And I was like, oh, he would be a perfect. He's like, now thinking about how, if you just watch The Bear for like an episode and you see his behavior as like how pissed off he is in that show, you're like, oh yeah, that's been great for sure. So,
right. Yeah, exactly. And so Ebon Moss Backrack, I think is the way you say it. And it's going to be hard. That's the thing that did work in those movies. I thought Michael Chiklis was a great thing in those films. Yeah. I did think that he was sort of perfect for it. So we'll see. So you're not entirely out on Marvel. They've wrapped filming on the new Superman movie. I'm excited to see what it is. And how it is. James Gunn can let people down, but I think his heart's in the right place for this one. So are you cautiously excited for that Superman movie, which I believe is actually going to come out next year? I think that the turnaround's pretty quick. Yeah.
I don't know. Same. I mean, as a bigger DC fan historically, I have gotten more just burned out on the machine of these movies more than it even just being Marvel, because like they announced all those DC movies and shows and things like however long ago. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I'm just busy. It feels like I want to just do my own thing and focus on trying to make my own shit, that like I get less of myself wrapped up, my identity wrapped up in some of these things. I think the Superman movie will probably be perfectly fine, if not hopefully good. Like I hope it's good. I am not super confident based on the cosplay level of photos that have been leaked. For some of the characters. That Superman suit, people keep complaining about it being baggy, and I'm like, they've post, they're going to tighten it up. It's going to be, they're going to do all kinds of stuff, I'm sure. But some of the suits look a little hokey. They do look very like comic book accurate, and I have a thing about like they can't be too comic book accurate because then they don't look good on film. So the picture of what's his name as Guy Gardner, which is a weird choice. I'm curious to see how that goes. He just looks so silly. That character looks silly in that costume. Maybe, I mean, who knows? It's James Gunn. There might be some like funny reasons for a lot of these different things, but I remain cautiously optimistic.
So that it's Nathan Fillion's going to be
Nathan Fillion. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
and
right.
He's correct me if I'm wrong, because this is outside of my area expertise. He's the asshole Green Lantern, right? The one that Batman punches in the face.
Yes.
Yeah. I think in justice League International, I do believe an issue ends where Batman just punches him right in the face. So he does have that sort of punchable face, from Saturday Night Live, Colin Jost, his book was called A Very Punchable Face. And then I looked at him and I'm like, yeah, you really do have that. And Guy Gardner definitely has that. Well, Will, before we wrap up, the last time that I talked to you, there was something that I wanted to share with you. I wanted to talk to you about, but it involved sharing media, and the setup that day wasn't really going to allow for that. And I am excited to get your thoughts on something, because people forget we've been doing the Bladtcast almost 12 years now.
Oh man.
And we had some regulars early on. Watto is not invited back on the show.
He's done.
But Eric Singer used to always be in the corner with a saucer.
He's here.
Of milk.
He came with me.
He moved with you. That makes perfect sense.
That's
so you put out a saucer of milk for him right now.
Yeah, he's over there right now.
And one of the other regulars, of course, was the great Mark Wahlberg.
That's right.
And I somehow missed this when it first happened, but I came across a commercial that he did.
Oh.
It's for an app, and it sounds more like, we've had the real Mark Wahlberg on this show, but there are people who do an impression. Andy Samberg kind of did that impression.
Right.
He's never sounded more like the impression than he does in the commercial that I want to play for not just
Hallow.
Will, but forever for
Oh,
Hallow.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, we take this moment just to give you thanks. We thank you for this time to come together as a family, as friends, and as a country. Help us, Lord, especially this Lent, to grow closer to you. Amen.
Join us in prayer this Lent on Hallow. Stay prayed up.
What is that? Is that like a Catholic app?
It's a Catholic app. So it's basically to help you pray. And, again, I know he's obviously a big proponent of his Catholic faith. He'll do interviews with, on Ash Wednesday with the Ash on, it's not that. It's great. I think that he thinks this is important. And he's like, yeah, let's try and help people with their faith. It's just the way he says it. It's like the whole time he's like, oh, Jesus, say hello to your mother for me. Oh, yeah. Hey, God, how's it going?
Mary. Oh, Mary, where you been? There's no way she didn't have sex with Joseph. She got pregnant by nothing. God just fucking came down and put his in it. What did she do? Was it faith?
I don't know about Donnie, but my favorite book is Deuteronomy. What do you think?
Deuteronomy. That's what I call it. Yeah.
Lewis Cox saying hello. Love Deadpool and Wolverine so much with In Sync. Bye. And Avril Lavigne. I'm with you. Oh yeah, I was smiling, chuckling throughout the damn movie. You do matter, Deadpool. You do matter. And yeah, look, I hope the Superman movie is good. I hope despite the reputation I might have, I hope everything is good. I don't
ever want movies to be bad. If I'm going to see something, I'm like, I hope this surprises me, because I'd rather enjoy myself than not enjoy myself.
When I went to see Borderlands last night, it was mostly because it can't be as bad as they say.
That's what I always think.
And it was worse.
Yeah.
Madam Web, I had the feeling. I was like, okay, this is really it's the worst comic adjacent movie I can think of.
I felt it's rare. I actually use the airplane as a time to watch movies I want to see, which is kind of counterintuitive, but it's because I can't be on my cell phone, and it's the closest I can be to seeing a movie in a movie theater, even though it's this big. But I was like, you know what? Madam Web, can it really be what everyone's been saying? And it was already kind of like a big joke, and people were saying you should see it because it's so silly. And I was like, yeah, I guess it is really, really rough. I'm just always confused by those kinds of movies, because I'm like, how did the script... I don't know. I feel like I don't even have representation. I still work to try to make it as a screenwriter. And I'm like, I don't believe that I would have turned in something that looked like this. Maybe it changed on the fly from studio exec notes.
Believe it or not, it's written by the same people who wrote Morbius, I believe. And
big surprise.
Both of those movies changed, apparently. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, Jonathan from Geekscape knows those guys, and he's talked to them and he's interviewed them and stuff. And there's things you can say and there's things you can't. Right. They are definitely upfront about we wrote a different movie. They don't badmouth the movies as they came out, because that's not good for business. No. But I can. And yeah, what I said after Madam Web is it made me long for Morbius, which I think we all thought that it would be Morbin time. But
the most funny part of that movie to me was the bad guy who keeps lamenting over not letting these girls destroy what he built. But they never ever discuss what he does. He just has that secretary and apparently a loft apartment in New York somewhere. And he's just really pissed that they might destroy what he built, but we never know what it is that he built. And that the nebulousness of that to me is so funny, that you just have this character who's irate for 2 hours about a completely undefined thing.
Yeah.
It's there might have been the scene that they shot that would have made it all make sense, but somebody and some executive was like, nah, fuck that scene. We don't need that. Cut it out. And then you just get the rest of the movie where he's like, okay, they're not going to destroy what I built. And you're like, okay, he just a cantankerous, crazy person.
And, Will, you're a guy that you talk about in development processes for movies. I think at some point when they were doing wardrobe for that. He should have probably spoken up. One thing, you have Sydney Sweeney in this movie, and maybe some of the scenes don't have her in the baggiest sweater that the world has ever seen. Might help with marketing materials. It just might. It might help.
I actually liked the girls were dressed very late 90s, early 2000s.
Correct. Yes.
It was, I guess, technically took place.
It was 2000. It was supposed to be 2000, I think.
2000. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because is it supposed to? No, it couldn't be connected to any of the Spider-Man movies. But
no, it would. There were plans. So I think that all three of them would have been in another movie at some point in the development process. That was a plan. That's why they cast them. The one who plays the actress who plays Maddie Franklin, I think is that character's name. She's the girl in the new Ghostbusters movies. So she's someone who's been in other things, and you can put in franchises.
Wait, she's the daughter character in the Ghostbusters movies?
No, so she's she's like the boy in those Ghostbusters movie. There's a girl he likes who I think he works with or whatever, and she's in the second one. Very convoluted. The second one, the fourth Ghostbusters movie, she has an internship so that they can explain why she's in New York and not Oklahoma.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Got it.
I forget her name. It's I knew it. Celeste O'Connor. That's the one. Thank you. Yeah,
I got on IMDb to look this up because I was
like, So it's like there's stuff in it, but ultimately, I was talking about this movie. I'll name check Chris Claremont again, because if we have two McRib references in an episode, I can mention his name twice. And as I'm talking, he hadn't seen Madam Web, and I was talking about it, and I was trying to describe, and I stumbled into the phrase that I was very proud of. Looking at Dakota Johnson in this movie is like staring at a bag of wet laundry. It's just so she's so bad.
But the thing that I loved watching her in this movie because it was so some of her line deliveries were so dry, and because they were so flat, not because I thought that she was doing a bad job, but because I thought it looked like she knew she was saying the dumbest shit in the world and was like, I'm doing this because I need a new kitchen floor. So there was like an element to which her performance was so dry as that character that I actually really enjoyed her in the movie, because I was like, she fucking knows exactly what she's in, and she is not even like going to try. She's just going to flatline the whole thing. And it ended up being inadvertently like really funny to me to watch her deliver a lot of her dialogue.
Yeah.
So I got a weird enjoyment out of that.
Yeah, no. I know exactly. It's it's a good point. But I don't know. I just could not believe, I mean, it was just so bad. And I wanted to share this comment. I was looking for it. Lewis Cox, Madam Web. I had a feeling when I saw the first trailer, no, this is bad as F. And, he's not wrong,
Yeah.
I think that.
So Borderlands even worse. It's really that bad.
Yeah. Because it's like, it's big, it's loud. It's got like a cast where you're like, there's more potential there. That's really what it comes down to, and I usually like Adam Scott. Every time I see him in something. In Madam Web, I was like, oh, I hate you now. And they sort of have the back door where he's Uncle Ben and his new girlfriend, and just like
which was like kind of cute, I guess, in a weird way.
Yeah, but they don't do anything with it,
No, yeah. And Emma Roberts was
Aunt May, I think.
Was she's
the one. Oh no. She's Mary Parker,
Peter's mom.
Peter's mom. Yeah. Sorry.
And they can't say Peter, so she's like, I was gonna name the baby, and then a balloon pops. Yeah. And you're like, that's really cool.
Lewis Cox, you're kind of right. Sony should have gone with the Venom movies and not the other ones, but I don't know. I mean, we're about to get our third.
They are. Movie. I was gonna say they are doing that. Those actually make money and they're popular, but
they do. And I have to assume, Will, you're not going to check out the Kraven the Hunter movie with Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Probably not. That maybe an airplane. We'll see. I want to see what people say when it.
I'll see it. It comes out December 13th. They dropped a new trailer today, and I'll see it. I'll let you know.
Okay.
But
it's so dead. I mean, that feels like all the universe is like more than dead. You know, I don't.
Yeah,
why can't they get it sorted with Marvel and get Andrew Garfield or something back?
I mean, I think that's very much what I think a lot of us would want. Ivan Soto wants to know, why does the new Kraven the Hunter trailer make Kraven look like an anti-hero? I mean, they're definitely trying to pitch him that way. It's not the villainous Kraven the Hunter. It's very tough when you do Spider-Man movies without Spider-Man.
It's the fact that this has gone even as far as they were talking about this a really long time ago when Andrew Garfield was still Spider-Man, and they were like, they're going to make a Sinister Six movie with just the Sinister Six, and I was like, that sounds like not a good idea.
Yeah,
I'm amazed that Gotham TV show ran as long as it did. All these things, I understand the Penguin, like a tangential one where you're like, oh, this is happening at the same time. But when you say like, oh, this is just a bunch of the movies, and then rather than even do a single Sinister Six movies, they were like, we should do solo movies. Venom, I understand because that character is like iconic.
Yeah.
But the other characters, I was just like, does anyone believe that people will care about Morbius by himself, or Madam Web, or Kraven the Hunter? And so far, the answer has been resoundingly no. So I'm just like, I can't imagine the Kraven the Hunter movie. Maybe it'll be decent, but I can't imagine people really caring that much. If you threw Spider-Man in there, they'd be like, oh shit, it's a Spider-Man movie.
It'd be great. If you did it as a Spider-Man movie and it was Kraven's Last Hunt, I would be angry only in the sense of like, oh, give us more Kraven first. Don't kill him right away, but it would be great. Yeah. I knew that this comment was about to come in. Ivan Soto, Gotham was a great show. Bruce Wayne was in the show, so it made sense he became Batman when he saw these villains. I was in on it for like a season and a half.
I watched season 1. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've said on this show, I've said elsewhere, the biggest problem was how much they liked the actor who played Penguin, because then he was in like every episode and every story arc went around. I thought the casting was actually pretty good as Edward Nygma, and I thought that the acting choices were good. But I couldn't live in a Batman world without Batman every week.
Donald, I don't dislike Benjamin McKenzie, but I didn't think he was a great Gordon. But Donald Logue as
I love Donald Logue. Yeah, you know what? We get the bell on that one. Yeah,
standout of that whole show was Donald Logue.
Well, we can bullshit all day, but we will do it again in the future, in the very near future. I don't know what movies we need to talk about, but we'll talk about something. I appreciate you being here for Bladtcast 606. That's a milestone in some cultures, probably. You know, I'm not quite sure.
It's like the Epiphany. You know, it happens a little bit after Christmas, and that's the day that the wise men actually reached Jesus.
Yeah, this is a wild comment. I would care about a movie about Rocket Racer because he was in the Spider-Man the animated series. But Sony will do that movie. No, I mean, they shouldn't do that movie. I know who Rocket Racer is, and I can't imagine watching Rocket Racer. Yeah, I know. It's think of Racer. Go ahead and bring up Rocket Racer. Yeah, exactly. It's that's sort of like, my go-to for dumb villain characters is always Paste Pot Pete, although they renamed him at one point. So look, if that were to be a movie, I'm sure I would make myself see it at some point. But I don't know that Rocket Racer, it sort of feels like part of an explosion of characters where they were just like, in sort of like the mid 70s, they're like, well, what about Rocket Racer? And for our visual audience, I'm sure you didn't think I was going to leave you. I was going to leave you hanging and not show you Rocket Racer because he's got a skateboard, but it flies. Well,
that's definitely like when you've got people who are writing comics who are like way aged past a thing that it's like becoming cooler, and you've got Stan Lee going like, what if there was a character who rode a skateboard, but it wasn't just a skateboard? It was a rocket-powered skateboard. I remember. And
don't forget to pray this Lent, either, true believers. Face front.
Oh, man, I would love to see Stan Lee encourage you to pray on a Catholic app. even though he was
Catholic,
of course,
a member of the tribe. Stanley Martin Lieber. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
I might be Jewish, but I want you to know that if you're Catholic, it's okay. Spider-Man was Catholic, actually, but the Hulk, very Jewish.
It is like our friend Gene Simmons selling liquor and cannabis. KissOnline.com. You know,
two things he's never imbibed in. Yeah.
No, the Kiss condom made sense. Obviously, you know, I mean, he wouldn't be with us if it weren't for the Kiss condom. In any case, see, now this has turned into back and forth about Gotham. So see what you did. The can of worms that you open. Gotham was okay. It should have been a CSI styled Gotham City police department show. There was a GCPD show planned for HBO Max or Max. I think that Penguin show I think has premiered now with Colin Farrell.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, I want to check it out, but I don't have Max.
I think is it this month or next month? It says September 8th.
All right, so less than a month, we'll get the Penguin program. William, I appreciate you giving me so much more time than Liev. You know, who's that guy? I think he is. No, we appreciate.
I wish I had the confidence that Liev has to just
leave.
Yeah, never take anybody else's shit as seriously as he takes apparently his own shit, which is kind of like that's we all want to do deep down.
He's doing very well. He took a big gamble. He bet on himself. He made a big move. You've also made a big move, and I'm sitting here in the same place in Burbank. You know,
but you can make moves inside.
Yeah, that's true. My moves are lateral or internal. But Will, if you want people to, look, even though my kids just went back to school on Monday, it is still summer beach season. And what would be a great beach read for people who maybe don't have it yet?
A little book I wrote called Fame by Misadventure, which is the elevator pitches Chinatown meets the Real Housewives. I don't know if that's the demographic of the Bladtcast, but you know what? It's I call it a why done it, not a who done it, because it starts with a character suicide and we find out why all of this happened as opposed to who pushed them off the edge. And I'm proud of it. It's a fun read. It's a fast read. It's not I'm not a debut author who's like, here's my 900-page book you should care about. It's like 300 something pages.
And for our visual audience, I wanted to share the cover, but then I was like, oh wait, here's the Audible version.
Yeah.
You told me about how
if you've got Audible, I read some of the chapters as well. There's a great cast that I put together for the book, so check it out.
Yeah, and I think that it sounds fun. It's like have Will live inside your ears. Will's book, thumbs up from Lynn B. It sounds dark. Yeah, I think it does. I think Chinatown is in the demographic of this show, but perhaps
it's not. It's funny because I went to the Barnes and Noble at the Grove to like sell copies in person and to like do some like sign stuff, and I found that I could kind of make an appeal to both people where I was like, it's Chinatown meets the Real Housewives. And some people are like, I don't really like housewife stuff. And I was like, then this is the book for you because it's very critical of our overconsumption of reality TV and celebrity worship and the dangers of these things. And people are like, oh, that's interesting. And then people who are like, ooh, I love housewives. I'd be like, great. It's full of all the fucking catty people that you know. And, and so I was like, there's something for everybody.
Yeah, I love it. Best of luck, continued success with that. And History Rated R is still out there. You guys have to record it differently than you used to.
It just came back on Friday. We stockpiled a bunch of episodes, so we've got a bunch to release. And then I'm actually briefly swinging through Long Beach for Craig's 80th birthday. And we'll probably inevitably try to record like an episode or two so we can delay the Zoom episodes as long as possible. So still going strong. We took a little summer break, and as of Friday, we're back every other week. We post an episode.
I would like to hear Craig's take on present day, but I think that story should be told after Election Day, regardless, because as interesting as old history can be, week to week. This is kind of this living history book. You don't have to love all of it, but you can't say that we don't live in interesting times.
Oh boy.
So,
Yeah.
so I hope that there's a post-election special, and I would hope that you and Craig are happy about what you're talking about in there. But I think it's all worth talking about.
That's probably a good idea. Because we're so recorded so far in advance. Like, last time we recorded an episode was early July, maybe.
Yeah.
So and there's several. We've got like 5 or 6 in the can, I think. So it's going to be a minute before we catch up. So we should.
And it comes out every other week, correct?
Every other week. Yeah.
So you're gonna. That's
around
gonna,
election
honestly,
time.
Your canned episodes are going to get you right through to election day, basically. So,
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. I'm glad you got to see the movie, and I'm glad you had fun with it, because honestly, this is a movie we're supposed to have fun with. We don't need to think too much about it. For people who do want to think a lot more about it, the next audio episode of the Bladtcast is going to be one of my somewhat lazy, but actually I put a lot of production work into them, the super cuts of the 3 episodes I did for Geekscape for the show I do there, Marvel Movie Talk. You're going to hear a lot of comments in the chat from Ivan Soto, a few from Lewis Cox, and some other friends. But I'm going to kind of mash together 3 episodes, and I'm going to make sure it comes in under 3 hours, but probably just under. I'm going to do what I can. So if you really want more Deadpool and Wolverine talk, right now you can go over to the YouTube channel for Geekscape and find those episodes. You can also subscribe to the audio version of Marvel Movie Talk over there.
Yeah.
Will Sterling,
yes.
at Will Sterling _
Still there.
Still there. I'm
that
still at Christian DMZ. You can find me there.
I'm not on the Twitter really anymore these days, but
do you have threads?
It's not deactivated. Yeah, I have threads, but it's all.
Yeah, are you Will Sterling _? On threads?
I am, because it's connected to the. It's Meta, right? So it's all the same.
That's true. It's all
company.
The same.
But Elon Musk is too big of a piece of shit to want to actively use his platform anymore. So I think that account will probably just sit there.
Yeah,
it's not like I have that many followers.
All right, but if that old guy gave you back the @Will Sterling, you'd have to at least think about it.
No. The underscore is built into everything now. I can change all the other ones. You know
what? I'm gonna get that @Will Sterling account, and I'm gonna start using it. That's
Jebediah 120. It's gonna be your Jebediah 120. It's a very deep cut for anybody who doesn't know.
That is an incredibly deep cut. I was on Twitter recently talking about fake Stefan, and I thought that.
Fake Stefan.
I thought that was a deep cut. And I actually messaged fake Stefan, who of course is not real Stefan. It is just fake Stefan. But wow. Jebediah 120. I had that is a deep cut, and you know me, I appreciate deep cuts. Well, they say the first cut is the deepest, but that deep cut is definitely what I'm looking for. And I don't even know what moment in time that was. So
I had that login and was tweeting jokes for him for a minute. I don't even know how they probably were not very good. We could probably search him on X.
Oh, no, I've got it. Yeah, that's sort of what I was vamping. We were going to wrap it up, but then you mentioned Jebediah 120. So he joined in June 2009.
Wow.
And I do love this from 2017. What in Sam Hill is a Bladtcast?
I don't
my gosh.
I don't know if that was me.
No, that one's me.
Okay.
You and I went to that Ace Frehley concert.
Oh yeah.
And Jebediah reposted. The Bladtcast 120 was the last one we did there. Oh, and this is him sort of commenting on the end of the radio show. What happened? Did I miss something? And then that was almost 2 years after. Am I still alive?
Yes.
And I was so jazzed that I would be on with Dennis DMZ today. Then I realized it was actually Jedediah Bila. Jesus Christ. Sure, it'll be a humdinger. I want to just get to one that you wrote.
Yeah,
let me tell you, I haven't eaten ice cream until you've eaten it with your dentures out. Seriously, what a rush. Is that one you?
That's probably me. That's not good when they get bad and corny.
I think remember Sarah might have posted some of these.
She did. I definitely had about I can remember thinking about how crazy is this that Hitler's best friend's name was only one letter off Himmler, star-crossed lovers. That sounds like something I would have said.
That's pretty amazing, actually. Yeah. The Avengers is coming. Who's excited? They call me the Avengers too, except there's a lot less superpowers and a lot more fiber involved.
It's good.
You want to read this one for me, Bill?
So I like to braid my beard. You want to buff Garcon?
New trailer out for the Total Recall remake. Now we need a total recall of all these whiny politicians with inferiority complexes. You know what? That one actually sounds like somebody else who did that. New trailer out for the Total Recall remake. Now we need a total recall of all these whiny politicians with inferiority complexes. Hey-o.
I've actually been tweeting for Trump for the past 10 years. That's a big secret.
I remember when the Hunger Games was called Stay Alive during the Great Depression. I'm going to end it there.
That's not
and whenever the next time is, we've done this before where we've read some of these, but it was so long ago. I didn't.
Every couple of years, we bring Jebediah back from the grave to read these old tweets.
I would have to look if I can retweet, if I can post something as Jebediah. I would have to put this clip on there and, but let's be honest. He turned 120 in 2009. So I don't know.
He's so old.
Yeah. Oh my, the Hunger Games tweet. Oh my. And Lewis has appreciated. See, that's the thing. This is an audience who's never gotten to appreciate Jebediah 120.
Oh.
So this, it's like they used to say when NBC would run reruns in the summer. If you haven't seen it, it's new to you.
That's right.
Anyway,
for whatever reason, I know we've been trying to wrap this up 10 million times, but some of the Dennis deep cut character things like pop into my head on the most random times, like Siamnesia Torn Curtain, the Cat Chowder, and
get off that! Hey. Eric Singer, get off that.
I think because I'm always yelling at Monster, our cat, I think about that pretty frequently. And then Woodsy Moncton, the procrastinative survivalist.
I'm coming. And the burglar owl.
I don't remember the burglar owl.
I think what he would say was who, me? And sorry.
Oh, Chimp Doctor.
There, I don't know. He must have been here for a moment. I made a solemn vow like a decade and a half ago that Chimp Doctor would only emanate as his own character. It's like the Disney characters taking their heads off.
Oh.
So I can't. No one can see the Chimp Doctor. Will Sterling, fun as always, and I look forward to the next time we're chatting about something. And I wonder what Mark Wahlberg will be selling then. But we will see you next time on the Bladtcast, and say hello to your mother for me.